A few years ago, I made a mistake that changed everything. It's a decision I'll never be able to forget, one that haunts me every day. It all started with a breakup. When my girlfriend ended things, it hit me hard. I know breakups are a part of life, but for me, it felt like the end of the world. I was devastated, heartbroken, and angry. I couldn't understand why she would leave me, especially after all I had done for her. I had always been there for her, supporting her through thick and thin. But when she walked away, it felt like a betrayal. I couldn't shake the feeling of hurt and betrayal, and it consumed me. I know I should have handled it better. I should have accepted the breakup and moved on. But instead, I let my emotions get the best of me. I wanted her to feel the same pain I was feeling, to understand the hurt she had caused me. In my anger and desperation, I turned to the dark web. It was a place I had visited before, a place where I could escape from reality for a while. But this time, I wasn't looking for an escape. I was looking for revenge. I stumbled upon a forum called the Naughty List, where users could submit names of people they felt deserved punishment. It seemed like the perfect opportunity to get back at my ex-girlfriend, to make her pay for what she had done to me. At first, I intended to humiliate her by sharing personal photos and videos. It was a petty and immature act, but in the heat of the moment, it seemed like the right thing to do. But then I came across something else, something much worse. There was a section called Slay Snatcher, where users could submit information about someone they wanted to punish. Without thinking, I filled out the form with my ex-girlfriend's information. I uploaded her photos and included links to her social media profiles. It felt like a game, and I was the one in control. As I clicked the submit button, a sense of satisfaction washed over me. I was convinced that I had finally gotten back at her, that she would feel the same pain and humiliation I had felt. But as the days passed, nothing happened. There were no angry messages or outraged social media posts. It was as if my actions had gone unnoticed. I waited, hoping to see the fruits of my labor, but nothing changed. And then, one morning, I was greeted by 2 police officers at my door. My heart sank as they asked me questions about my ex-girlfriend's whereabouts. She had been reported missing, and they wanted to know if I had any information. I was terrified. The guilt weighed heavily on me as I answered their questions truthfully. I knew I wasn't responsible for her disappearance, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I had played a part in it. Weeks went by without any sign of her. I couldn't sleep or eat, consumed by guilt and fear. And then, the news came. Her body had been found in an abandoned factory. She had been stuffed into a chimney, a cruel message left behind. I was devastated. My actions had led to her death, and I couldn't bear the weight of my guilt. I wanted to confess, to make things right, but I was too much of a coward. Now I live with the knowledge that I destroyed her life, that I'll never be able to make amends for what I've done. I can only hope that someday, somehow, I'll find a way to forgive myself. But for now, all I can do is live with the consequences of my actions, haunted by the memory of the girl I loved and lost. Last month, I had a few friends over at my place for a small get-together. We watched a football match and drank some drinks. It was just me, Max, and Andy from the IT department. Everything was fun until Max brought up the dark web. He said not many people have the courage to go on the dark web because it's full of scary things. I joked about it, saying I'd been on it in college and nothing bad happened. Andy, though, said he never wanted to go near it. Max then told us a story he heard about someone ordering drugs from the dark web and getting human bone dust instead. We were all surprised and a little scared by that story. But then I got a bit confident and decided to prove that the dark web wasn't so scary. I grabbed my laptop and started browsing using the Tor browser. Looking back, I wish I hadn't. We found some really strange sites, like one where you could hire a hitman, and another where people uploaded torture videos for money. But things got even stranger when we found a link to a site called True Footages. Max and Andy were unsure, but I was drunk and determined to prove my point. so without thinking much, I clicked on the link. The screen started loading, and soon a zip file started downloading. Andy warned me it might be a virus, but I ignored him, saying my antivirus would catch it. I unzipped the file and found 3 MP4 videos inside. We all gathered around as I played the first one. It showed an old house in the countryside. The camera went inside, and we heard someone crying. It was scary, but we didn't think much of it until we watched the second video. This time, the camera went down a dark hallway and the crying got louder. When the person filming opened a door, we saw a man tied to a chair, begging for mercy. It was terrifying, but we couldn't look away. In the third video, things got really bad. The man was gone, and the room was covered in blood. A woman appeared on the screen, holding a severed head. She laughed and told us to keep quiet. We were all horrified. Max started throwing up, and Andy had a nervous breakdown. We took him to the hospital and called the police. They're still looking into it, but I can't shake the feeling of fear. If you ever see a woman named Julia posting videos like this online, please tell the police. She's dangerous and she needs to be stopped. Four years back, way before the virus stuff, I started working at Walmart to save cash for college. My bro, who already had a job at a startup, let me crash at his place. After a long week, we'd chill with a couple of friends, order pizza, and watch action flicks. My bro and his buddies would crack jokes and have a few beers, while my buddy Matt and I would game and laugh along. One weekend, things got a bit wild. Jimmy, one of my brother's pals, started talking about the dark web. Matt and I, being curious, paused our game to listen in. Jimmy made it sound like this crazy, mysterious place he'd explored with his work buds. My brother, always up for something new, suggested we give it a shot. So Jimmy got the Tor browser on my bro's laptop, saying it would keep us anonymous. As we started clicking around, checking out the hidden parts of the dark web, we stumbled upon some super messed up stuff. I'm talking about a site with instructions on cooking a woman. Yeah, it was beyond creepy. I spoke up, saying I wasn't cool with what we were doing, but Jimmy just brushed it off, calling the dark web not for kids and teasing me. Then we found this ad for mystery boxes on a kind of secret eBay-like site. The catch was, the boxes were a total mystery, no idea what was inside. Even though I had a bad feeling about it, my brother, who's always jumping into things, suggested we buy one and open it together. I'd read online about these boxes sometimes, having evidence of crimes, but nobody listened to me. A week later, my brother got a text about the package's delivery. It was sketchy, talking about a non-refundable purchase paid with bitcoins. Feeling uneasy, I insisted we all go pick it up together. When we got there, under this bridge, we found the package just sitting there, like someone had ditched it. Back at home, we gathered to open it up. The excitement in the air was thick, but I couldn't shake this feeling like something bad was about to happen. As we tore into the box, we found leather stuff, belts, a handbag, socks. But these weren't normal leather goods. The socks, they were made from human skin, with hairs and even bits of flesh still stuck to them. Panic set in as we realized what we were looking at. My brother's phone buzzed with another text, this time directing us to a website selling human leather. Without wasting a second, we grabbed everything and burned it all. Then my brother changed his phone number. That experience was enough to keep me far away from the dark web for good. Some things are just better off unseen. My name is Eva, and this is my story. I have a sister named Ivy, and we've always been active kids since childhood. We loved sports, and Ivy in particular was quite the gymnast. She's always been strong and competitive, even with grown-ups. Last year I decided to apply to the same college where Ivy is a senior. We were raised by our grandparents and our mother since our father passed away when we were very young. Ivy and I have always been adventurous, like that time when we were kids and faced down a wild dog together in the woods. When I started college, I was excited to have Ivy around to watch my back. Our college was bustling with young people full of dreams and ambitions. Ivy introduced me to her friends, including her boyfriend, Mark. I also made some friends of my own, but I always enjoyed spending time with Ivy and her group on the weekends. One Saturday night, Ivy hosted a party at her place. After everyone left, Mark asked if he should stay over, but Ivy wanted some sister time, so he left. I asked Ivy why Mark warned us to be careful before leaving, and she just laughed it off, saying she used to play pranks on her friends. We settled down on the couch with some beer, and I mentioned how my friends had been talking about the dark web recently. Ivy's eyes lit up, and she suggested we play a game on the dark web. She explained it was a treasure hunt game she'd played before and found exciting. Ivy logged onto her laptop, and we entered the game. The interface was dark and eerie, with a skull logo. The game started with a man in a dark alley, and we had to follow clues to find coordinates leading to a treasure location. As we progressed through the game, the clues became increasingly bizarre and unsettling. Ivy seemed excited, but I was starting to feel uneasy. When we reached the final round, a demonic figure appeared on the screen, and the game abruptly ended. Suddenly, Ivy's laptop crashed, which surprised both of us. Despite our efforts, we couldn't get it to work again. I suggested it might be a virus, but Ivy brushed it off, saying it hadn't happened last time she played. She insisted we go to the treasure location indicated by the game's final coordinates. It was already past 2 a.m., but Ivy was determined. I reluctantly agreed, and we set out in her car with me secretly texting Mark for help. We arrived at an abandoned farmhouse, and Ivy insisted on investigating further. Mark arrived and tried to convince her to leave, but Ivy was stubborn. We entered the farmhouse and discovered evidence of a fire. Ivy found the exact spot indicated by the coordinates and started digging. After some time, we uncovered a black garbage bag buried underground. Ivy opened it and screamed, fainting on the ground. Mark and I found a bloody knife and blood-soaked clothes inside the bag. Terrified, we went to the police the next morning. They determined it was evidence from a murder case, and the killer had tried to hide it. After that incident, Ivy was too scared to play any kind of video game, let alone go on the dark web. It was a disturbing experience that neither of us will ever forget.